Welcome back, everyone. Today we'll be taking another deep dive, and this time we'll be focusing on asteroids. It seems like everyone's fascinated by these celestial wanderers.
It's no wonder. There's so much to learn about them. And they can pose a real danger to Earth, which adds an element of, well, I guess you could say excitement.
Oh, absolutely. Speaking of excitement, Asteroid Day is just around the corner on June 30th.
That's right. A day dedicated to raising awareness about asteroids. And it commemorates a pretty significant event, the Tunguska event.
Oh, you mean that mysterious explosion in Siberia back in 1908?
The very same. It flattened trees for miles, but to this day, there's no definitive answer about what caused it.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. No impact crater, no identifiable fragments. It's a real head-scratcher.
Some scientists believe it was an asteroid that exploded in the atmosphere before hitting the ground.
Ah, so that would explain the lack of a crater.
Exactly. Others think it might have been a fragment of a comet, mostly ice, that vaporized on impact.
And I think I even read somewhere that it could have been an asteroid that ricocheted off Earth's atmosphere.
There's that theory, too. It just goes to show how much we still don't know about these objects sharing our solar system.
That's what makes them so fascinating, though, right? And Asteroid Day is a great time to learn more. It's not just about the dangers, but also about the ongoing efforts to track and understand them.
Absolutely. And speaking of dangers, did you hear about that planet killer asteroid that was in the news recently?
Oh, yeah, 2011 OL-21, right. That one was hard to miss with all the headlines. It was supposed to be huge.
It is big, somewhere between 1.7 and 4 kilometers in diameter, definitely large enough to cause some serious damage if it hit Earth.
But I guess it wasn't really a threat this time around?
No, thankfully not. It passed at a safe distance almost 20 times farther away than the moon.
So another case of media hype getting a little ahead of the science.
You could say that. It's important to remember that while some asteroids are classified as potentially hazardous, it doesn't mean they're on a collision course with Earth.
Right. So Asteroid Day is also a good time to remind everyone to take those sensational headlines with a grain of salt.
Absolutely. Now, while the planet killer was hogging the spotlight, there was another asteroid that actually passed even closer to Earth around the same time. It even flew within the moon's orbit.
Really? Why didn't we hear more about that one?
Well, this one, named 2024 MK, was significantly smaller, only about 150 meters in diameter.
Still pretty big, though. I mean, imagine a skyscraper hurtling through space.
Oh, you're not wrong, and that's a good point. Even smaller asteroids can pose a threat. It all depends on their speed and trajectory.
And speaking of trajectory, predicting where these things are going can't be easy, right? With all the gravitational forces at play.
It's incredibly complex. In astrophysics, we talk about the N-body problem.
Yeah.
Basically, when you've got multiple objects like planets and asteroids all interacting through gravity, it becomes very difficult to calculate their movements over long periods.
So it's not like you can just draw a straight line and say, okay, this asteroid will be here in 10 years.
If only it were that simple. We use mathematical models and observations to make the best approximations we can, but there's always a degree of uncertainty.
I see. So how do you deal with that uncertainty?
Well, one method we use is called the method of perturbation. It's like making constant adjustments to account for all those gravitational nudges from other celestial bodies.
So even with all our technology and scientific understanding, there's still an element of, cosmic guesswork involved.
In a way, yes. It's why we can't predict asteroid paths with 100% certainty, especially over long periods.
And I imagine that makes planetary defense all the more challenging.
It certainly does. A good example of this uncertainty is the asteroid Apophis. Remember that one?
Oh yeah, the one that was initially predicted to have a chance of hitting Earth.
Exactly. It caused quite a stir when it was first discovered. But thankfully, further observations and more refined calculations assured it'll pass safely by us.
That's a relief.
Yeah.
But it does make you wonder, what if we did discover an asteroid? Say the size of that 150-meter one we talked about, on a collision course with Earth. What kind of damage are we talking about?
Well, an asteroid that size could definitely cause widespread devastation. It would likely explode in the air before hitting the ground, creating what we call an airburst.
An airburst. So no giant crater?
Not necessarily a traditional impact crater, no. But the shock wave from that explosion would be immense.
Wow. I can only imagine.
Think flattened buildings, shattered windows, fires spreading for miles. There are websites and apps that let you simulate the effects of an asteroid impact, and they really bring home the destructive power of these things.
It's a stark reminder that even though Earth has been hit by asteroids throughout its history, it could happen again.
Exactly. Our planet bears the scars of past impacts, even if we can't always see them. Here in Brazil, for instance, we have the Serra da Cangalha crater. It's a beautifully preserved impact crater that was discovered, believe it or not, by chance from an airplane.
Wow, that's incredible. Speaking of looking up at the sky, have you heard about the planetary alignment coming up on the morning of November 11th?
Oh, yes. It's not every day you get to see several planets cluster together like that. This one should be especially striking, with the moon right there amongst Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn.
And all visible to the naked eye.
If the weather cooperates, yes, it'll be in the eastern sky before sunrise.
Amazing. I'll definitely be setting my alarm for that. Now, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about some exciting news from the world of asteroid exploration. I hear scientists recently made a fascinating discovery in the samples brought back from the asteroid Bennu by NASA's OSIRIS-REx mission.
They did. They found phosphates in those samples, and that's a big deal because phosphates are essential for life as we know it.
So does that mean Bennu was once home to life?
It's too early to say for sure, but this discovery is definitely intriguing. It suggests that Bennu might have originated from a much larger body, perhaps a dwarf planet with an ocean that was shattered long ago.
Wow, so these samples could be like a window into a truly ancient environment.
Exactly. Analyzing these samples from Bennu is like opening a time capsule from the early solar system.
That's incredible. It makes you wonder what other secrets are hidden in those samples.
It really does. It's a testament to the power of scientific exploration and missions like OSIRIS-REx. Every sample we bring back from space has the potential to rewrite our understanding of the universe and our place in it.
Well, you've certainly given us a lot to think about today. We've covered so much, from the mysteries of the Tunguska event to the latest discoveries from Bennu.
And we've only just scratched the surface. There's still so much to learn about these fascinating celestial objects.
Absolutely.
And as we continue to explore and learn, who knows what other wonders we'll uncover.
We'll definitely have to have you back for another deep dive soon.
I'd love to.
But for now, we'll need to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be tackling a hypothetical scenario that will really make you think. What would we do if we knew a planet-killing asteroid was on a collision course with Earth, and we only had 10 years to prepare? It's a daunting thought, but one that forces us to confront our place in the cosmos and the fragility of our existence. Stay tuned.
It's a question that's been on people's minds for a long time, What if an asteroid, like a really big one, was headed right for us? Could we actually do anything to stop it?
It's a scary thought for sure. But I know scientists are taking this threat seriously. There's a whole field dedicated to it.
Right, planetary defense. And it's not just science fiction anymore. It's a real field of research, with people working on ways to protect Earth from these cosmic threats.
So what are some of the ideas they're looking at? Is it like in the movies where we blow them up with nukes?
Well, using nukes is kind of a last resort. It could actually backfire and create a bunch of smaller but still dangerous pieces. The focus is more on nudging the asteroid off course.
Nudging it. How do you nudge something that big?
One idea is a gravity tractor. It involves sending a spacecraft to orbit the asteroid and using its gravity to gently pull the asteroid off its path.
So we'd be using gravity as a tow rope. That's pretty wild. But wouldn't that take ages to work?
Yeah, it would take a long time, which is why early detection is so important. The sooner we know, the smaller the nudge needs to be.
Makes sense. Are there any other ideas?
Another one is lasers. Not to blow it up, but to vaporize a small part of its surface, which would create a jet of material that acts like a thruster, pushing the asteroid in the opposite direction.
Okay, so like using lasers as a steering wheel.
Kinda, yeah. It's all about subtle adjustments over time. Of course, there are other ideas out there too, each with pros and cons, but the main point is we're not completely helpless. We've got options.
That's good to hear. But it seems like the biggest hurdle would be actually finding these potentially dangerous asteroids in the first place. How do we even know where to look?
Well, there's a lot of work being done to track and catalog near-Earth objects. Astronomers all over the world are using telescopes and fancy software to scan the skies and pinpoint these things.
It's like a cosmic neighborhood watch program.
Exactly. And the more we find and track, the better prepared we'll be. And remember, most asteroids aren't a threat. It's about identifying the few that are and figuring out how to handle them.
So vigilance, science, and maybe a little bit of luck.
Yeah, I'd say so. And it really shows how important international cooperation is. No single country can tackle this alone.
It's a reminder that we're all in this together, facing these cosmic challenges as one planet. And, it's fitting that we're talking about this right before Asteroid Day.
Absolutely. It's a great time to get involved, learn more about asteroids, and appreciate the efforts being made to protect our planet.
Definitely. There are events happening all over the world and lots of online resources, too.
It's really amazing how much information is available now. Planetary defense is something we can all learn about and be a part of.
You're right. Well, on that note, we need to wrap up this segment of our deep dive. But when we come back, we'll be diving into a really thought-provoking scenario. What if we found out a planet-killing asteroid was heading straight for Earth and we only had 10 years to get ready? It's a pretty heavy topic, but it makes you think about our place in the universe and how fragile our existence really is. So stick around. Okay, so picking up where we left off. That cliffhanger, huh? A planet-killing asteroid, 10 years to prepare. It's almost hard to imagine.
It is, but that's the point, isn't it? To force us to grapple with a scenario that, while hypothetical, could actually happen.
Exactly. So let's say we do get that confirmation that there's a massive asteroid headed straight for us. What are the first steps? Where do we even begin?
Well, the first thing would be to double, triple, quadruple check those calculations. Make absolutely sure about the asteroid's trajectory and the predicted impact location.
Exactly. Imagine even being off by a little bit could have huge consequences.
Oh, absolutely. We'd need every telescope, every observatory, every space agency focused on getting the most precise data possible. And then, well, it would be all hands on deck. A global effort to develop and implement a deflection strategy.
And I guess in this scenario, we'd be looking at all options, right? Not just those gentle nudges we talked about earlier.
Right. We'd need to explore everything, even technologies that haven't even been invented yet. It would be a race against time, pushing the limits of science and engineering.
And while that's happening, wouldn't there also need to be a huge effort to prepare for the impact itself? I mean, even if we could deflect the asteroid a little, the effects would still be global.
Oh, absolutely. We'd be talking about potential tsunamis, disruptions to communication, long-term environmental damage. It would require a level of global cooperation and disaster preparedness that, well, we've never seen before.
It's kind of overwhelming to think about, to be honest.
It is. It makes you realize just how vulnerable we are despite all our technology and advancements. But it also, speaks to the incredible resilience of humanity. I think in the face of something like this, we would pull together like never before.
Yeah, it puts things in perspective, that's for sure. And it brings us back to the importance of events like Asteroid Day.
Right. It's a reminder to stay vigilant, to keep learning, to appreciate the work being done to protect our planet.
And to realize that, ultimately, we're all in this together. We share this planet, this incredible journey through space, and it's up to us to protect it. Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive for today.
It's been a fascinating conversation.
It really has. We've explored some pretty big questions today about asteroids, about planetary defense, about our place in the universe. So to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you found it as thought-provoking as we did. Keep looking up, keep exploring, and remember, we're all crewmates on this spaceship Earth. Until next time.